80% of suicides are men. So why are we barely talking about it? We've known for a long time that men commit suicide at a much higher rate than women. But a couple of days ago, there was a big study that happened, and here are some of the results. The report, titled Exploring Mental Health Trends Among Boys and Men, was from Crisis Text Line. It was data drawn from 71,000 conversations. This report was presented at a congressional briefing on Capitol Hill, hosted by the bipartisan Senate Mental Health Caucus. This isn't some sort of fringe research, this is straight to government. The stats are pretty shocking, but not surprising. Around 100 men die by suicide in the United States alone, every day. This is a rate nearly 4 times higher than women. Men account for up to 80% of all suicide deaths. Despite this, in this study, out of 1.5 million crisis messages received in 2025, less than 20% were from men. This means that men are dying at 4 times the rate of women at their own hands. As for the boys, 1 in 3 boys under 14 discussed suicidal thoughts in these conversations, and 1 in 6 reported self-harm. Anxiety and stress appear very highly also in about 39% of conversations with boys and men, and over 40% with adult men. It was also found that loneliness increases with age, and boys and men consistently said that social connection and exercise are easily the most helpful things for them. Men don't speak up, and the boys learn from the men, they learn from their mums, and they see what they see. So naturally, they're not thinking to reach out. They're not thinking to do those things, because it's not what being a man is. It's not what manning up is, at least on the books, at least historically. And it's costing people their lives. It's costing men their lives at a humongous rate. That is a crazy rate. 80% of suicides. It's also widely known that men often choose more lethal force than women when it comes to suicide. But it doesn't take away the fact that this is a rising stat in men, and it's always been that way, but it's only getting worse. Part of it can come down to equating that self-reliance and strength are intertwined. And whilst that's not untrue, it's not black and white, the truth. Because ultimately, help seeking can still be seen as a weakness. And that simply isn't true. If we were all amazing and awesome and perfect, no one would seek any help of any sort. We would just be fine. But that's just not the case. This can be a more stereotypical view of men and what manhood is. However, it's not as simple as that. Everyone's lives are different. How we get here is very different. How we are brought up is very different. Our experiences will always be different. So this isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. But unfortunately, it can be viewed as that by men and by women alike. According to PMG Care, between 1990 and 2021, the percentage of men reporting no close friends jumped from 3% to 15%. Men now have fewer people than ever to turn to confide in, and to rely on. This silence is also systemic. Men don't just avoid talking to therapists, but also their partner, their friends, crisis lines. It's a pattern, and it's something that needs to be totally rethought. Now, there are very many reasons for this. With this loneliness epidemic, it makes sense. This is the loneliest time to be alive. It's the most connected. However, it's the most detached. As I said in a previous podcast, you don't even necessarily have to talk to people to keep in touch with them. You just send them a meme. You just send them a text. And that's it. Ultimately, you don't have to have close friends anymore because the convenience is there to talk to one another, but it's not really the connection that it is to talk to someone and truly seek them out, to truly speak to them. Yes, it's possible. And yes, some people do it well. But as a norm, it's not the norm anymore. The view of masculinity has been warped over the years. Yes, there are extremes in anything. There is toxic masculinity. But then there's the total opposite as well, where there's no masculinity. And as men and women, inherently, we have traits. Some people will have more or less depending on the person. But as a man or a woman, there would be something inherently masculine in a man and inherently feminine in a woman. And if we deny that or pretend that it's all bad, what's that going to do with the person that's dealing with that, that's feeling judged without having done anything? Masculinity has been consistently viewed as bad, as part of the patriarchy that everyone must fight against. I know from my point of view, it's become a witch hunt. It's become if I don't know what to say in an argument, I'm just going to put it down to that. Oh, you're a man. Any of these sorts of things. This is put down to disregarding people just for being as they are, just for being as they were born. Literally. Ultimately, you're making a witch hunt out of just a person being what they inherently are down to their bones. You get identified as a man or a woman down to your bones. And to automatically view that as bad, I think is wildly unfair and unjust. I know that there are extremes on both sides of things. Masculinity, feminism, things like that. Now, of course, I'm talking about a little subset of people here, but usually these people are very vocal. So naturally, they will be heard far and wide. I realize that in reality TV dating shows, we're again getting gigantic personalities, maybe people on the more extreme ends of things in some of the cases, can show and highlight some of these very real issues. And often these issues are laced with hypocrisy. They want a man to be a man, but when they want to turn that masculinity off, they should be able to do that. But the same isn't required of women. Now, that's an extreme thing as well, of course. But these are the sort of extreme things that are thrown towards men. And men feel it. There seems to be a different requirement and a different expectation that a man needs to provide something to be worthy, but a woman is automatically worthy and they can just exist, and that's enough. A lot of this modern dating is laced with that. It's laced with, well, as a man, you should pay for my meal. As a man, you should pay for the car for me to get there. As a man, I want a man who provides, and he's on several $100,000 a year. He's got this, he's got that, da, da, da. And what do you provide? Oh, well, I'm me. I'm a baddie. I'm a whatever. And ultimately, they just get to be themselves. And that's enough. But a man is not enough if he's just himself. That's the message that filters through those avenues. And men do feel it because ultimately they feel like they're not enough. Because what if they can't provide to that level at the moment? Or what if they do have other things going on? It's not an even playing field. If one party can be adored just by being them and the other one has to do something in order to be even factored in, that's an imbalance immediately. And a relationship isn't built on imbalance because nothing really is. Mutual respect and consideration has to be a massive part of a relationship. But starting out with this imbalance, it'll never get there. Just putting it down to as if all men are responsible for all problems would be just as unfair if it was reversed. Masculinity is not inherently toxic. It's inherently natural. It's part of us. Testosterone is something that everybody has. Testosterone and estrogen. And ultimately, men will generally have more testosterone and women will generally have more estrogen. And there's traits that come with that. It doesn't mean that you're just a girly girl and a guy's guy. It can be anywhere on the spectrum of things. But those elements are there. Labeling men or masculinity as inherently toxic hurts the people attached to that. You're disregarding who they are as people. This view also filters down through media. Politically, it's charged. You see in movies and TV shows that the male character is often the dumb guy now. He's often the dumb guy. He's often replaced. Even if it's a historical figure, they're now being replaced. And it's all part of a different sort of agenda. And this hurts people because this agenda takes away and it adds division. If you want to look at the problem that's going on, you look at the division. Division is everywhere. It's now in the family unit. It's man versus women. It's kids versus parents. It's your identity. It's red versus blue. It's black versus white. It's race. It's politics. It's everything. But the key is to not let yourself get swept up in it. Another well-known situation where men are often viewed as lesser than off the bat is within hearings, custody hearings in particular. America is the poster child for this. However, it's in Australia and other countries too. It's not an even playing field to start with. It's not what's best for the kid. It's the kid goes with their mum, the dad pays the wage, the dad pays it, and if anything else happens, you may not get to see your kid, depending on who the ex-wife is or the ex-partner is. It's incredibly unfair. And if you're a man and you're trying to pay for your kid and help support them, but you can't control how that money's being spent in that house, and you can't even control whether you get to see them or not, that is heartbreaking. And this is one of the common problems that men deal with. Manning up can mean suffering silently. It can mean bottling everything inside because it's not safe to let it out. Ultimately, it eats at and corrodes us from within. And that's a recipe for depression, loneliness, and destruction. As men, we owe it to ourselves to do what we can, to do what is right regardless, even for ourselves. Not just stepping in when there's a fight, not stepping in when someone needs help, but for ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to seek help, to talk to someone, to get the right support, to reach out, to talk to a friend, to talk to our partners, to be honest and to work on ourselves. To the women out there, support your men, support your boys. And ideally, if we both do this, if men and women both acknowledge each other's struggles, each other's issues, that leads to greater understanding and a closer intertwined relationship. And that would be ideal for dads specifically. The boys in those stats become those men in those stats. And the research shows that their dads are the biggest single protective factor. They want to be like you. They want to reach out to you. They want to be close to you. Boys with real-world relationships have healthier self-esteem, healthier self-confidence. And parents are the adolescent boy's first choice of support, according to the Gottman Institute. If ultimately, for the dads out there, if you don't know how to talk about things, if you don't know how to reach out, if you don't know how to ask for help, your kids model that. They won't reach out either. They won't ask for help. There's a cycle. Emotionally unavailable fathers bring up emotionally illiterate sons and become men who suffer in silence, and that's the next generation of the same stats. Breaking this cycle is that decision to be different, to understand, to reach out, and to teach what is healthy. As a counselor for over 12 years, I've seen countless examples of this in men and in boys. Ultimately, there's something inherent that often doesn't let us want to reach out. It's something where we want to be strong for ourselves, but we want to be strong for others too. Vulnerability can be very difficult, can be very scary for men, but it doesn't have to be. Ultimately, we all go through different things in life. We all will grieve. We all will have anger. We will always have breakdowns in our relationships or otherwise. And if we don't deal with them, we're just walking around wounded all day, or with a lit match where something could go really wrong way quicker than it should. So I understand why men don't call. I understand why men don't reach out. You look at everything listed today. It feels like it's a losing battle a lot of the time for a lot of men. And even the state of the world today, for a lot of people in general. Division is massive right now. So we really have to do what we can to not turn on one another and to not turn on ourselves as well. But this conditioning runs deep, so it's important that we uproot it and we replace it with something healthier. This episode is not about shaming men for not reaching out. It's about understanding the system that makes them feel like they can't reach out and getting everybody to do something about it, men and women included. If we all do our part, great things will happen. Things will change. Ultimately, we all go through things. And If you suspect that someone's going through something right now, that someone's hurting, that someone's not quite dealing with their stuff, or they're really hurting, it's important that you reach out and ask. It's important that you reach out and offer help, or offer to get them help. We all go through this. Men and women, we will go through this. And it's so important that we do this for others, but it's so important that we do this for ourselves too. If you're struggling, reach out, get some help, do the steps. Break the cycle as early as you can, even if it's 50 years in. You don't have to go another year feeling this way when you could do something that could really bring you out of it and into a better life, into a life where you don't have to be alone. So this is my urge to really take these stats seriously and to see what you can do about it as an individual, or how you can help others too. Ultimately, we all need help sometimes. I've seen that countless times. I've needed help before. We've all go through things, be they super serious and dire or not. But they're all things that grow if we let them. Whereas if we try and get in the way and stop them and help them and heal them, that's how we make lasting change in ourselves and each other's lives also. So reach out to someone you care about, offer help. And if you're someone who's struggling, reach out, get some help. That's what we need to do if we actually want to stop it. See when things are being pushed on you. See when things are being put out deliberately to divide you from each other. Because it's way easier to conquer people if they're divided. So look at it that way. See where division is and how you can undo it. At least do your part. And if everyone does that, we're way better off. To the men out there struggling, you're not alone in this. You've never been alone in this. It may feel that way. It's isolating, and we can isolate ourselves too. So do your part to not let that happen and to not let it get too far down the track where you can't get back. I hope this helps someone. I really am encouraging you though. Please get help if you need it. All right? Be that from me, another counselor. Reach out to someone that you trust, someone that you care about, and get the help that you really need. Do that. Get the help that you need, even if it is a crisis line, especially in those moments. Do what you got to do to get better. Everyone will thank you for it. God bless you guys. I hope this helped. If you want to work with me, check out my link, send me a message. And for the men out there that may have lost a bit of purpose or need a bit of help, there's something I've made that's a 90-day purpose reset to uncover where we're kind of falling short, where we're hurting, to remove that and to replace it in a way that could make lasting change. And there's a link to that in the bio as well. So, hey guys, all the best. All the best to all of you watching this. Do what you can to support yourselves and one another. Peace.